Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Good morning, good morning. I am back. I thought basketball was over, but it wasn't quite yet. So I do apologize for missing you guys last week. But like I said, priorities, priorities. Got to take care of the young ladies first. Okay, let's jump right into this. And over the last few weeks, since my last post right around Labor Day, I've received a lot of comments and requests actually via text, email, and even on our YouTube and Facebook channels. And the question always comes down to this: you guys seem to want more details about specifically outsourcing and how I'm currently using it in my business, and maybe I can help you guys do the same in yours. Uh, Now, what I'm going to share here, I'm going to focus on the appraisal industry because, again, that is the primary industry that I'm in and that I have knowledge of. But to be quite honest, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about today are just as applicable in other industries. So let's jump into it. Okay, so I titled this kind of the mechanics of outsourcing. Uh, and let me give you a quick disclaimer. First and foremost, before you outsource anything, and this doesn't, we're going to talk about the appraisal industry, like I said, but it doesn't really matter what industry you're talking about. Um, First thing you probably really need to do is you need to know what it is that your business is. So, for instance, um, in my instance, I work in the real estate appraisal industry. Okay. Um, I have been in the appraisal industry now for about 15 years. Okay. I should have done this a while. I should have started outsourcing a lot sooner than I did. But the reality is, it took me some time, and that time is going to be dependent upon you and your goals and objectives. It took me some time to really understand the business that I was in and what exactly I was providing as a product to my customers. Okay. So I'm going to say this, and I need you all to take this the right way. Um, if you don't know your business, you should not be outsourcing, period. You need to learn your business first. Okay. So it took me several years to really understand that when I was in the report writing business, and that's really what I did. I wrote a lot of reports early on, as all appraisers do. Um, I finally realized that wait a minute, report writing is the product. Yes, it is, but it is not necessarily what I'm paid for. As a real estate appraiser, you are paid for your analysis. You're paid for, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. You're paid for your analysis. I've been trained to analyze various things and to put a value to it. That is why people come to me. That is why I'm paid the way we are. That our company is paid the way we are. So if I only focus on that aspect of it, it's actually in the list of, if there's a list of all the things that goes into producing an appraisal report, that one is maybe 5%. That means that the other 95% of the stuff that I spend time on is not adding anything to the bottom line. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. Um, and I'm sure if you looked in your particular business, there's probably one or two things, maybe three, that you do that only you can do, but the rest of that stuff somebody else probably could do if you allowed them to. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about outsourcing. I'm not talking about outsourcing your core, the thing that really makes you money. I'm talking about outsourcing the things that don't make you money, but have to be done anyway. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So first off, let me reiterate: outsourcing is not new. All right, ever since when the first person hired when Caveman X hired Caveman Y to do something else, to do something for them, they were outsourcing. The only reason Caveman X hired Caveman Y is because they no longer wanted to do a task that they felt they needed to do. That's it. Okay. Once that first hire was made, outsourcing began. We just call it an employee employer relationships. The only difference between outsourcing is that um, when we say outsourcing now, there's a lot of stigma to it because we automatically think that we're taking a job that would be here in the US and send it somewhere else. Well, if that's your limited definition, then that's how you choose to see it. But that doesn't have to be the case. And I'm going to show you some examples of why. Okay. But the bottom line is outsourcing is simply a way to get to shift stuff that's off your plate to somebody else's plate so you can focus on stuff that's more productive. That's it. Okay. So let's see here. Um, Here's why outsourcing is really cool now, because with today's technology, and it started probably in the 90s, probably late 80s, early 90s, um, when companies were really focusing on laying fiber optic cables from in our case from the U.S. around the world. Uh, they created a lot of internet bandwidth, for lack of a better term. Thomas Friedman, in his book "The World Is Flat," and that's an old book, wrote about it, and it is absolutely true. When that was done, that opened up outsourcing to not only big corporations, although those are the ones who took advantage of it initially, but it made it available for small business owners like myself. And even, you don't even need to be a business owner. Anybody who needed something done that didn't want to do it themselves could access the services of other people around the world that had these skills. Okay, so technology is really the reason that we're even talking about outsourcing today. Okay, um, so let's see here. Let me tell you about my business. I'm trying to be quick here. Let me tell you about my business and what we outsource. Okay, again, the thing that I focus on is I focus on doing the analysis of the real estate appraisal. That is my highest return on value when I only focus on that. Okay, so my office manager is in Alabama. Here's what that means. That means that when you call me or you call our company, you don't get to speak to me right off. You speak to my office manager again, who's in Alabama, using her computer, uh, not mine. And when it's elevated, you might get to talk to me. Okay, that's it. She is performing all of the duties that a typical office manager would do as if she were here. The only difference is I don't have to pay for her being here. I don't have to provide her a computer. I don't have to do any of that stuff. She has her own. Okay, so that's number one. Two, my social media person that I'm not using quite enough is actually in Ypsilanti. Again, if she's a highly paid professional. She's very good at what she does, but she's in Ypsilanti. She's out of my office. We collaborate on a lot of different things, and she does her thing. She does her thing. Okay. My photographs, and I stress this in my appraisal business when I'm dealing with non-lender work. I take photos of every property that is included in my appraisal. The difference is when I'm dealing with government-backed work, um, I take them myself. Now, with the advent of bifurcated appraisal products, meaning that the analysis is separated from the data gathering, that may be changing very soon. But right now, for all of my lender work, my in-house photographer is actually eating breakfast right now. I told you guys in the first time about using your children as outsourced partners, right? So those are three quick ways or three quick things that I do in my business to outsource. Okay. Now, how can an appraiser outsource? Again, the key here is to focus on the things that you do as an appraiser that only you can do, the things that you are licensed to do, and the things that you are actually skilled to do, and hopefully the things that you actually like to do. Those are the things that you want to keep core. If it doesn't fall in that bucket, send it out. It's simple as that. Like, I don't particularly like typing reports, so I outsource that. I don't particularly like doing all the background data gathering stuff. So you know what I did? I created a procedure that people can walk through, and as long as they do this procedure, it gets them the exact same results that they would get if I did it. I let somebody else do that. Okay, I currently don't have anybody in that position right now, which sucks for me, but I'm working on it. But that's my point. So again, how do you got to focus on what you bring the most value to? Okay, And finally, here's the next piece of this. Where do you go? Well, to be quite honest, working in corporate America is that's kind of passe right now, right? Not too many people want to do that, especially if you're a millennial or close to being a millennial. They have no interest. Most millennials have absolutely no interest in working in corporate America. I don't blame them. I didn't want to work in corporate America either. That's why I'm here. That said, where can you go? There are all types of websites. First place to start. HireMyMom.com, Mom Life Happy Life, onlinejobs.com, onlinejobs.ph, onlinejobs.com, I think is the US version. Upwork, Freelancer. These last two are specifically if you have one-off tasks, things that you're not going to have done. But Upwork, that's a great place to find people. They do some additional screening for it. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the other options, but the reality is they are highly talented people from around the world, from the global economy. And by the way, when I say global, I do mean US included too. Matter of fact, you can even say, look, I only want to work with folk in the US. Perfect example. Our bookkeeper is in Texas. I found her on Upwork. So I guess my point is this. There are plenty of things that you can do to outsource your business. Okay. It's up to you. But the key to outsourcing anything is really, you just need to figure out what it is that you do that's really, really good, that you're really good at, and that you want to continue to do, and get rid of all the other stuff. There is somebody out there to handle it, and they'll probably do it a heck of a lot better than you can, because the reality is you probably don't even want to do it. So I hope that helps. We're approaching 12 minutes. And if you have any other questions, man, I'm sure we'll probably talk about this in future episodes, but I'll probably have to break it down a lot more. So we'll treat this as a nice overview of the subject again. And in later videos, I'll break it down a little bit more. If you have any specific questions, please add them in the comments or check us out on the YouTube channel. All right. Have a great one.